And here in Accra, it's 10 p.m. and welcome to the last bulletin for the day. My name is Bright Nanaf. We're coming to you live from the news hub here at Adesawe in Accra. And we'll start with the day's news highlights, beginning from here. An Accra District High Court has remanded medical doctor of Obinfo Hospital, Dominic Obing, and his cleaner, Edward Amponsa, to 2 weeks in police custody after being charged with murder. The presiding judge, Ifwa Saki, denied the accused person bail and directed his lawyers to the High Court as he has no jurisdiction to grant him bail. That case is a lot. The man will have to stay in jail or in custody for 2 more weeks. The National Identification Authority, NIA, does not know the specific technical glitch that marred the commencement of the National Identification exercise on Monday. The authority is unsure when this glitch would be fixed, heightening concerns about the exercise that has already suffered 5 postponements. We're told now that the exercise is or has been postponed indefinitely as the authority tries to find out exactly how to deal with the problem. The quest to take the law into one's hands by meting out instant justice or mob action has always been condemned by many. This way of seeking justice has caused the lives of many, including Major Maxwell Adam, who was on unofficial duty in Denchira, Obuasi in the Central Region. To remind Ghanaians on the need to stay away from the act, the government, through the Ghana Armed Forces, has cut a sword to erect a monument in memory of the slain soldier. The National Labour Commission has appealed to the striking medical laboratory scientists to rescind their decision and allow the commission hear the parties and have the matter determined. The commission has scheduled a formal hearing of the matter on Friday, June 1 at 10:30 a.m. We're told that the meeting between the laboratory scientists and the Minister of Health did not yield any positive results. And finally, on the international front, rival factions in Libya have agreed to hold parliamentary and presidential elections on December 10. The 4 groups meeting in the French capital Paris also agreed to adopt the necessary laws by mid-September. Thanks so much for staying with us. If you're watching us from Wa in the Upper West Region, if you're with us from Kintampo in the Bonafo region, if you're watching us from Swedro in the Central Region, thanks so much for your time. This is NewsAt10. Let's start with this. Now, the quest to take the law into one's hands by meting out instant justice or mob action has always been condemned by many. This way of seeking justice and had caused the lives of many, including Major Maxwell Adam Mahama, who was on unofficial duty in Denchira Obuasi in the Central Region. To remind Ghanaians of the need to stay away from the act, the government, through the Ghana Armed Forces, has cut the sword to erect a monument in memory of the slain soldier. This is a report by Godfred Tanam.
Instant justice, otherwise known as mob action, is a common phenomenon in Ghana which affects the rule of law and the democracy practiced in the country. Mob action takes varied forms such as lynching suspected robbers to death, butchering suspected criminals, humiliating suspects by stripping them naked to the extent of setting others ablaze, Exactly a year ago, on Monday, May 29, 2017, Major Maxwell Adam Mahama was brutally lynched by a mob at Dincho Obuasi, now New Obuasi, in the central region. After this barbaric act, many condemned what has come to be known as a part of the culture of the people. 1 year on, the government's promise to erect a monument in memory of the late Adam Mahama has been realized with a sword cutting ceremony at Airport Hills in Accra. The monument, which will be erected at the Airport Hills roundabout, signifies the need to end mob justice and also depicting the bravery of the slain soldier. At the ceremony, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, emphasized the need for Ghanaians to embrace the justice system instituted by the Constitution instead of resorting to mob action.
The government also announced plans for the establishment of the Major Mahama Trust Fund, which was inaugurated this morning. It is hoped that the monument, when completed, will remind Ghanaians of the need to wage a serious campaign against mob action and instant justice.
The Minister for Defense, Dominic Nitiwu, said the act of meting out mob action against suspects defines the uncivilized nature of the said society.
Though the erection of the statue will be in fulfillment of the promise made by the government, it will go far beyond the memory of an individual to serve as a reminder to the present and the future generations that mob justice, irrespective of the instigating circumstances, should not be condoned or tolerated in any civilized society.
The upper part of the 20-feet monument will depict the bravery of Major Maxwell Mahama. The middle part signifies the mob action against him leading to his death, whilst the landscape portrays the soothing and calm atmosphere of the environment. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News, Airport Hills, Accra.
And that is expected to serve as a reminder to Ghanaians of the need to stay away from mob injustice. Let's get onto the Skype and speak to Adam Bonah. He's a security expert. Just join me here on Skype. Good evening, sir. Grateful for your time. Now, the monument is to remind us of the need to ensure that mob injustice does not become what will serve as society's tool for stopping crime. Now, can we say that after 1 year of what happened, Ghanaians have learned a lesson?
Yes, good evening, and good evening to your cherished viewers. Well, the monument, I don't have anything against it, but for me, even though it will serve as a reminder to all of us of the dastardly act against the fallen soldier, 1 year on, no lesson has been learned at all, and not much has been done by, state institutions, including the Attorney General's Department, including, call it the Chief Justice and most of our, judges, our judges and the courts, some of our courts, including even the police service itself, the military itself, and, society at large. It's an indictment on us. The 21st century, 25 years, still counting since the 1992 Constitution kicked in. And, we still see the need to take the laws into our own hands and, take the life of suspected, criminals. It is only the court that has the rights by law to pronounce someone guilty and then to sentence the person to death. Even by that, the court would have to tell whether the person should be hanged or the person should be shot or the person should be, the way the person should go. And so for me, no lesson has been learned, and I don't know if lessons are going to be learned at all. Yeah.
Why are you saying that? We have not learned any lessons.
No, we haven't learned any lesson. I mean, if you take this year alone, how many attacks have we had on police stations? I mean, we've had several attacks on police stations, communities rising up and running over police stations for one reason or the other. And there should never be a reason why state institutions should be attacked by, individuals or, group of people. We were in this country, or we are in this country, or we were in this country when a court in Kumasi was run over by, a vigilante group in this country. And what happened to those people who were arrested? Nothing. I mean, just recently we had a group of military officers who took the laws into their own hands and are, viciously attacking police officers in the Tamale metropolis. I mean, we've had police officers themselves who would subdue suspected criminals and would beat them to pulp, even though they have them in their custody. We've seen videos, students in Kumasi who were demonstrating or something, and police accosting them, arresting them in the full glare of the public, and beating them even though they have arrested them. And so the law does not permit anyone to do that. And it is a scar on our conscience as a society.
I see. Does it then suggest that perhaps the people are losing confidence in the very security apparatus that they have agreed on to protect them? That's why they are attacking it?
Well, it's one of the reasons, but it has to do with the subcultural thing. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't blame it just on the state institutions. Yes, the criminal justice delivery system has failed us as a nation. But, in this country, most of our proverbs would say that, would usually direct us, try to let us know that if, you don't point your finger to probably
your left finger at your father's house.
At your father's house. And so some of these things, it means that even if your father's house is harboring a criminal, you have no right under probably our customary laws to point your left finger at that house.
Okay.
And so it has to do with that mentality. Yeah.
All right. How do we change this? Can we ever change this?
Well, it can be changed. It can be changed by ensuring that when people break the law, you wouldn't have the state institutions, the chieftaincy institution. You wouldn't have politicians calling the police, telling them to free them. The big brother, thing, the godfatherism attitude is actually what is also fueling this whole thing. The right to my political party is in power, so I must own it. I must, I have that legitimate right to take it from you. Even if, in Tamale, the highways workers have, demonstrated. We have people taking over and asking other people to step aside from their legitimate work. And so we need to educate people. We need to educate the community. We have to go to the very basic schools and be able to educate people.
Okay, hold on for me. Don't get off your Skype system yet, because let me also talk to you about issues on Galamsey, because the ban on small-scale mining came into force on January 2017. That's in January 2017. This was followed by government's anti-Galamsey task force Operation Vanguard in July. That was the same year. Now, with almost a year since the coming into force of Operation Vanguard, Richard Bright Ado takes a look at the government fight against Galamsey.
In January 2017, the government placed a ban on small-scale mining for a period of 6 months. The ban was, however, extended in October 2017 for another 3 months, which ended in January 2018. Government later extended the ban indefinitely. River bodies, farms and forest cover were destroyed because of the age-long practice of illegal mining, popularly called Galamsey. Thousands of small-scale miners who were into legal mining have lost their source of income. Some of the miners then migrated to the capital Accra to seek alternative sources of livelihood. Ernest Nana Owusu is one of the miners who used to undertake his business in the Ashanti region. He relocated to Akwitaman in Accra. Ernest spoke to the news team of what life has been for him almost a year after the ban.
I don't really have any major work to do. I help my parents to sell water. There is nothing really happening. Our lives are in ruins.
Another miner at Bawa now resides at Asufa near Ofanko. He's now a taxi driver. Bawa migrated from Sandema in the Upper East region to Obuasi in the Ashanti region 2 years ago to engage in Galamsey.
That's a story there. 1 year on, some of them trying to get back their lives after leaving the fields in Galamsey. But let me quickly put this question to Adams Bona, a security analyst. Do you think that 1 year on, we have been able to stop Galamsey?
Yes, once again, thank you and good evening to your cherished viewers. 1 year on, I would say somehow, if you ask me to rate the government 1 to 10 in terms of the fight against Galamsey, I would give the government a 7. I would give the government a 7. I think that it hasn't been easy, but you would realize that the same government, you have another state institution that is so complicit in the fight. That is, doing everything to thwart the effort of the Operation Vanguard team. And some of these people are DCEs. Some of them are MCEs. These are people who are in charge of, call them the DISEC, the District, Security Council, the Municipal Security Councils. They chair them in the various districts and the various, municipalities. And so they sit in meetings when the Operation Vanguard team will decide that this week we are going to be operating in probably maybe the Tiwa Forest, or we are going to be operating here. So they tip these people off and let them know that you've got to leave the place because they are coming. And so the fight against Galamsey would have been complete if we had put in a lot more intelligence. But at the moment, we are not using intelligence, we are using brute force. And when you want to fight, a menace such as this, you have to deploy intelligence. You need to put in systems that will be able to track and trace and destroy, the chain in terms of those who perpetuate this heinous crime. I mean, no one should destroy our water bodies. No one should destroy the environment because that person thinks that, I've got to make a living. It is wrong, but what we could have done as a country was to reintegrate these persons back into society. But we drove them out of the mining areas without giving them any training.
I'm grateful. Adams Bona is a security expert. They're talking to me about 1 year on after Operation Vanguard. Grateful. My guest in the studio is a mining consultant, Seth Clay, is here. Good evening, Seth. Grateful for your time. He says that if he was to mark Operation Vanguard, he was going to give government 7 over 10. You think that Operation Vanguard has been successful?
Yeah, right. First of all, let me say good evening to your cherished viewers. Yeah, I think that the action by government from the onset, to bring some sanity into the system was very laudable.
Right.
Because the rate at which we were losing our forest cover, the rate at which our water bodies were being polluted, which meant that we needed to use a lot more money to sort of purify water for making it wholesome for drinking, was going to go up. Now, this thing didn't start yesterday. You mean
the deployment of the forces?
No. I mean that this Galamsey issue has been with us for a long time. And so I lauded government for taking that bold initiative to say, stop, and let us have an audit of the whole system and see how best we can do it sustainably without necessarily compromising the environment and our water bodies. So that alone is a huge step. And
what about the results?
Well, the results is another thing. And I have said it.
What do you mean by another thing?
It's another thing because, the approach that we are using to solve it is problematic.
we're not achieving the results we tended to get?
Well, I don't think we are achieving the results as much because, you know, putting military men and policemen in the bush to be sort of policing these areas, for me, it's not a sustainable solution. We have, you know, state institutions that have been mandated to regulate that sector. And so what we should be doing is to try and empower them and give them all the logistical support that they need.
You're talking about the Minerals Commission.
The Minerals Commission, the Geological Survey,
Can they really do the job?
EPA.
They have failed us all these years.
Well, it's because they don't have the requisite resources. And they are not getting that support to be able to live up to the task that has been given them under the Constitution of Ghana. And that's where we should actually be looking. Some of these measures of deploying soldiers into the bush and all that, it's ad hoc. And it's not sustainable.
So driving away the miners is the first step.
Yes.
So perhaps the Operation Vanguard has done some good job.
Well, I am not disputing that, but I'm saying that for how long will they remain in the bush? Forever? Is that the way? So that my argument is that there is a better way to do it. The first steps were necessary. It has been done.
Getting the soldiers in was necessary?
It was necessary.
Okay. Now, you said there is a better way. What are the ways to deal with this?
You see, Ghana is not the only mining country. There is best practice out there for us to learn from. Those countries that are doing mining and doing it sustainably, what are they doing right? We need to learn.
What should we do right? What are the countries doing that we are not doing?
I'm saying that the institutions that are mandated to regulate that sector should be empowered to do so. And
so empower the Minerals Commission.
Empower the Minerals Commission.
How?
Empower the
Give
EPA.
them arms?
No, logistics. You know, go there now and ask them whether they have vehicles to move around to supervise, you know, responsible mining and all that. They don't have the logistics. So we should be, you see, for a country to grow, we need strong institutions. Institutions that are weak will not help us. So, like I'm saying, the soldiers were deployed, it was good, but it is not sustainable. So we should be looking at practical ways of regulating that sector.
Government talked about a program, a sustainable mining program, which it says it is yet to launch. Some mining program. Perhaps that isn't the solution?
Well, we are yet to see what it contains. But from the little research that I have done, I think consultations have not even been brought across, you know, across all the stakeholders. You know, so let's hope that what they are bringing out will stand the test of time.
I see. The small-scale miners is asking that the ban be lifted. Should government go ahead and lift the ban?
Well, I think that for now, it is clear that, you know, we are not going to condone this kind of wanton destruction of water bodies and forests and all that. And I think that these small-scale miners have taken note of it.
All
so
right.
what they should be doing now is to ask them to go back, because I say that this whole problem is not a kind of, permit me to say, a one-dimensional problem where we are only looking at environment. We are looking at a socio-economic problem.
All right. I'm grateful. We'll have to wrap up our conversation here. I'm so grateful to Seth Clay, a mining consultant, and talking to me about the mining issue here. There's more of that on NewsAt10. Stay with us. There's more after this break. Those of you who watched us from the Upper West region, if you watched us from the Northern region, if you were with us from the Eastern region, we're grateful you stayed with us. My cameraman, the studio, Sylvie Nete, Amando, and Eko Johnson, Manassas Darko, Ebenezer Tete, John Flagbo, and of course, the great team that put the show together. I'm so grateful. Brenda Dugan was the studio director, and Salom Amenya put the whole show together. Technical production was by Alfred Boama. My name is Bright Nanafo. Have a great night, but don't go away here because there is Sports Unlimited. The man Thierry Nian is on your screens right after this. We'll tell you more about sports. Stay with us.